If you're a designer or you just like amazing website, you have to check this website. This is remarkable.com, and the website itself is just impressively remarkable. So as you can see, as I scroll, it has this nice effect. Just watch the cards as they jump behind. So right now I'm scrolling, and we have this nice effect that just comes about it. Okay, so it's just an amazing website. You can check it out. And but today I'm gonna show you how to create this yourself. You can create this yourself in Framer without writing any code. That's the power of Framer in your hands. So without further ado, let's get this started. My name is Joe, and this is Framer Dive. Let's get started. Before we start, if you wish to create this yourself and you want to follow along as I show you how to build it, you can find the remix file in the description below. And if you're new to Framer, you can also sign up for free in the description below. So let's get this started. So this is my Framer workspace. Once you log in into Framer, you're going to see this Framer workspace. And inside this workspace, I have created a bunch of elements and assets that are going to help me to create that particular effect. So in this effect specifically, what you're going to learn how to use the sticky property in Framer. You're also going to learn how to use the scroll variants in Framer. And inside the scroll variants, you're also going to learn how to use the scroll transforms. So you're gonna kill 3 birds in one stone once you watch this video. So let me give you a brief walkthrough on what I have on what you can see on your screen. So this is my desktop. This is the first layer of my website, and then inside the desktop I have this navigation bar, and then I have the timeline. So the timeline is basically a line that has a width of 1 and a height of 1200, and then I have my main section. So the main section is where I'm going to place my elements. So the main section starts around here. As you can see, it has inside the main section, I have the text box, and I also have a scroll section. So the scroll section is where I'm gonna place my cards. So these cards are going to be inside a scroll section. So the first thing we're gonna do is I'm going to go directly to my scroll section where the action is going to take place. And I'm just gonna start by holding F on my keyboard to draw my first frame. Or you can come here to the top left part and you can see layout, and you can click frame and you can just draw your first frame. So I want this frame to have a width of 1080 pixels. On the right side here, sizing, change to 1080 pixels, and also the height, I want it to have 450 pixels. Normally when you design cards in Framer or in designs, you want to have a fixed sizing of the cards so that you can have something more, it can set the tone on the contents inside. So once I have the frame inside here, as you can see, I have a nice frame. So I'm just gonna now remove the color. Now I have the frame inside. So this is going to be my card. I'm gonna rename it card, or I'm gonna call it my card 1. Okay, and then now inside the card is now where we're gonna add this bunch of elements. So we need to add this text and we need to add the image. So I had already had I already have my images and my text here. This is my text, and this is my image. So I'm gonna pick one of the images here. So I'm gonna pick, for example, I'm gonna pick this image. So hold Ctrl+C on your keyboard and just paste it inside your card. And then you're gonna do the same for the text. Hold Ctrl+C on your keyboard or Command+C on Mac and just paste it inside. So now we have these 2 elements inside the card. So the next thing, we want to make the card into a layout. So click on your right side here. You're gonna see a plus button on your right. So just click plus here, and then voila, now it's in form of a layout. it as a layout. Okay, but now we want the layout to move from left to right, not from top to bottom. So come here to direction and change it to left to right. Amazing. Now let's go back to our image, which I'm gonna name it as image, and I want my image to be 345 pixels height and fill the width. But now remember, before you do that, you have to unlock this aspect, this blue lock. I'm gonna click unlock it, and then I'm gonna put it as 345 pixels as my height, and the width I'm gonna set it to fill. All right, and then now we go to the text, and I'm gonna make sure the width of the text is set to fit content. Okay, but now also on the grow part here, you need to change this grow part to this center one, so that it grows on the left side. So then the next step, we want to add some padding to our card. So I'm gonna come here to padding, and I'm gonna click here on I just want to adjust the left and the right padding. So I'm gonna click this right part, and I'm gonna click to my right, and I'm gonna add a padding of 70, and then on the left side I'm gonna add a padding of 70. And then now the next thing we're gonna do is adjust the gap. So come and put a gap of like 110. So now, as you can see, we have a good structure to it. It looks nice, it looks well. And then now the next thing we can do is now add color to our card. Let's now style the card a bit. So we come here to fill, and we can put the white, pure white color. Now, as you can see, we have a website and we have a nice card. So the next part now is to now create now the other type of cards. So remember, we have a bunch of like cards, so they're like 4 cards. So we need to make the other cards. So to do that, we can just duplicate this first card like that. Now we have the second card here, and then we can call this card 2, and then we can duplicate again, and then we can duplicate again. Now we have 4 cards. So this, I'm gonna call it card 3, and the last one I'm gonna call it card 4. So what we just need to do, we just need to change the direction of the elements inside the card. So we can put the image to the right side, and then we can put this bottom image to the right side. That's how it is in the website. You can look at it very clearly. We have the image on the left, the image on the right, image on the left, image on the right. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is, now because we have elements inside our scroll section, we now need to make this into sticky, so that when we scroll, it sticks somewhere. So as you can see, when we scroll, it sticks, it doesn't move. This card is sticking, you can see, then it sticks. So we need to add this property called sticky. So go to your first card, and on the part positioning, you want to change it to sticky, and then in the sticky part, you want to make it sticky to the top, have 160 here. Okay, so make sure you put here 160, and then we're going to do the same for the other cards. So change the positioning to sticky. So do it for all the cards. Nice. So make sure now all our cards are set to sticky, and then the sticky from the top, you have 160 pixels. And then now what we want to do now is we want to make sure that we can see what we've created. So as you can see, when I scroll, we have this nice effect of the card sticking to the top at 160, but we're still not getting to where we can see the cards animating and moving backwards. That's now where we're gonna use our other properties, which is a scroll variance and scroll transforms. So let's get now to something more interesting. So the second thing we're gonna do, the second step, we need to change this card into components. So to change anything into a component, you can right click on your keyboard and click here, create component. So I'm gonna click create, call it card 1. Okay, now we have our first component. So we're gonna create a couple of variants for this card. Since this is the first card, we need to have 3 more variants. So I'm gonna click plus here, plus, gonna add another variant, and I'm gonna add another variant. So for us to distinguish these cards, we need to change the color. So I'm gonna put this as my gray, my first gray color, and I'm gonna put this as my second gray color, and I'm gonna put this fourth variant as my third gray color. So I had already created these assets inside my assets panel here. As you can see, I have the colors here. So the idea now is to have them different from each other. So now let's go back and do the same for the second and the third and the fourth card. So the second card, I'm also going to change it into a component. So you can right click, create a component, or you can hold Ctrl Alt K. So this is my second card, and then I'm gonna add another variant here. So in this second card, we're just gonna have two variants. Okay, so notice that the first card we had how many variants? We had 4 variants. In this second card, we need to have we need to have 3 variants. Sorry, so this we have 4, here we have 3. Okay, so now this is my first variant, my second variant, and now we need to add the third one. So now we have 3 variants. Okay, so again, we're gonna add the color just to have a distinct differences between them. So I'm gonna click here, gonna change this color to gray 2. So, and then you're gonna do the same for the other cards. Okay, so again, Ctrl Alt K, change it into a component, create, and then I'm gonna add this variant here, and then this one I'm gonna call it, I'm gonna change the fill again to gray 1, and then this last one we don't need to have we just need to have one single variant, but we can just change it into a component just for so hold Ctrl Alt K, card 4. So this one has only one variant, this third one has 2 variants, and then this one has 3, and this one has 4. So now we need to start defining, now we can use this effect called scroll variant here. So because now our cards are now variants. Okay, now before we do that, we need to turn them into sections, into scroll sections. So the first card, we won't define a scroll section, we're just gonna define a scroll section in the second card, the third card, and the fourth card. So come to the second card, and here on your right side panel you're gonna see scroll section. So click this plus button here, and we're gonna call this card 2. Okay, and then inside this, the third one, we're gonna call it scroll section card 3. Okay, and then in the fourth one, we're gonna call it scroll section card 4. And then now we're gonna go back now to our first card, and we're gonna add now the effect. Now this is where we add the effect. So the first effect we're gonna add is a scroll variant. So click here, scroll variant, and we wanna add the effect so that, and the trigger is gonna be section in view. So we want, when a section is in view, we can see a trigger. So the viewport should be center of the viewport, so that the section we are using are the cards. So when a card gets to the center of the viewport, it's going to have that trigger. So we're gonna have the section, we're gonna use the card 2. So we're in the first card, and we want the trigger to be the second card, this card specifically. Okay, this card is going to be the trigger of this card. So, and then, so when this card gets to the center of the viewport, which is this center of the viewport, we're gonna see it change to variant 2. Okay, and then again, we need to add another section. When this same card, remember we're still in the first card, when this same card, because now remember we are scrolling, so when we scroll, we're gonna get to this card. Okay, so now when we get to card 3, we want the variant to change to variant 3. We want this card to change to variant 3, and then we're gonna add one more final section. So again, when we get to section 4, remember we're scrolling all the way to down here, which is, now this is our section 4. Okay, we want this section 4, we want it to, when it gets to section 4, we want it to change to variant 4. Okay, and then we're gonna do the same for the other cards. So I'm gonna come now to the card 2, and I'm gonna add the effect here, scroll variant. So remember section in view, center of the viewport again, and then now since we're in card 2, we need to start with card 3. So because now we're scrolling to from card 2, we get to card 3. So when card 3 gets to this, is going to trigger card 2. I hope that's clear enough. So when we're in card 2, okay, we're now defining an effect for card 2. So we want, when card 3 gets to the center of the viewport, we change our card 2 to a variant 2, okay? And then we're gonna do the same for this. So we're gonna change it when we get to the 4th section, which is this. We're gonna change it so when you get to card 4, which is this section, is the section 4, we're gonna change to variant 3. And we're gonna do the same for this card 3. So add another scroll variant. So the scroll variant is when we again section in view, center of the viewport. When now we're in card 3, remember our trigger is going to be card 4. So we come here to card 4, so card 4, and when we get to card 4, we change it to variant 2. Okay. And now this one has no scroll variant because this one is the last. It is the last one, so we can't even have a scroll variant here. As you can see, it's grayed out because this one doesn't have more. It just has one single variant. Okay, so that's why we can't even have this scroll variant. So now when we view what we have, we're gonna see the effect. So as I scroll, as you can see, as you get to the center of the viewport, this changes the color. And then again, as you get to the center of the viewport, this changes the color. And then this again, when you get to the center of the viewport, it changes the color. So now, as you can see, we are making good progress. So now let's go to the big bomb, okay, the final section. So the final part of this thing is now to animate these cards so that we can have this nice coming to front and back. Okay, this is one of the most interesting part about this. So let me show you how to do this. So let's go back to our page on Framer. So inside now these cards, we're gonna add scroll transforms. Okay, so I'm gonna start with my first card, or rather I'm gonna start with the first card component. I'm gonna double click it, enter into the component part, and then now we want to transform the variants. We don't want to transform the primary number 1 variant, but we want to transform the second variant, the third, and the fourth variant. So let's start with the second variant. So I'm gonna zoom in, okay, and just simply I'm gonna come here to effects, and I'm gonna click effects, and I'm gonna click here scroll transform. I'm gonna click scroll transform, and then my trigger is when the layer is in view. When we see this layer, we're gonna have a trigger. And now the effect is going to be from, so make sure this is from 1. Sorry, this is from 1, scale 1. So this is 1, 1. And then all the way to scale, we're going to use our first scale, we're going to use to 0.8. So we're going to decrease the size just a bit. And then we need to offset it by negative 180. Okay. So make sure it's from 0.8 to negative 80. Okay. So now as you can see, we'll have, when this appears layer in view, you're gonna decrease in scale and gonna move up just slightly a bit. We're gonna do the same for this variant 3. We're gonna add a scroll transform. So come to effects again, come here to scroll transform, layer in view the trigger from 1 here, and then again now the offset is going to be 0 still. So now 2, we're gonna have a slightly smaller scale. We're gonna use 0.7. okay, and then we're gonna use again the Y offset is going to be -120. So notice the first one we had used -80, this one we're gonna use -120, and also the first one we had used 0.8, this one we're gonna use 0.7. okay, and we're gonna do the same here for the fourth variant. So I'm gonna come here again, add a scroll effect. So now we're going to do the same for this fourth variant. Again, add a scroll transform. Make sure the trigger is layer in view from opacity 1, scale 1, and then all the way to all the way to point. So this one you're gonna scale it to 0.6, and then we're gonna make sure we offset it by negative 160. Okay, so put it at negative 160. So something that we forgot to do, we forgot to add a transition to it. So I'm just gonna click here, spring transition, and I'm gonna use 250 here as my stiffness, and I'm gonna use this. 250 is okay. So I'm gonna make sure I go back and make sure that we have the transition of 250 here as our stiffness, so just we can have a smooth flow to what we have. Again, come back to the scroll effect and add a transition, spring stiffness, put it to 250. Okay, now we've done the big part, so the next part is going to be a little bit easier. So now let's go back to the second card again. Now perhaps we can view what we have. Now you can see that things are gonna be a little bit working. You can see the first card is going a little bit back, or just what we wanted. Again, it's going back, and then again it's going back. So what we need to do now, for the second card, the third card, and the fourth card. Amazing, it's coming up really well. So let's go now to the second card. I'm gonna double click this second card, and I'm gonna come to your variants. I'm gonna add a scroll transform to the second and the third variant. Remember, this has 2 and 3. It doesn't have 2, 3, 4. It has 2 and 3. So come here to effects, scroll transform, layer in view from a scale 1, and then all the way to point. Again, we're using the same scales. So this is 0.8 again, and then this one is -80. Okay, so it's very similar to the first one again, and then this one is going to be again scroll transform, this layer in view from one, then we're gonna use it to all the way to point. Again, this one is going to be 0.7, and then our offset is going to be -120. Okay, so now we also forgot to add a transition. So put this at 250, and then also put this variant 3 at 250 transition. Okay, so I'm gonna use it at 250. Amazing. So now we've already added the scroll transform for our second card. Now we need to come to our third and final card. So remember, we can just do this by we can make it even simpler. Go back to the second card, and I want you to go back to your second variant where we just put in our scroll transform. I want you to right click. I want you to copy this effect. I want you to go back to card 3. Okay, go to card 3 here. Double click card 3. Go to the second variant of card 3, which is this one, and then now add an effect, add a scroll transform, and I want you to paste it here. Nice. So now we've pasted the effect to the second variant. So that's a simpler way to do this. It's very fast. So, and then now this one is okay. We don't need to put any scroll transform here, because as you can see in the video in our website, the final card has no transformation. Okay, so now we have created what we wanted to create. That's it. If now we can view our website or our page, now this is where it starts. So as I'm scrolling now, again, this first card, it sticks here from the top to 160. Then I scroll inside, it goes behind, and then I do the same for the second card. It goes behind again. Then that card again goes behind very beautifully. This is amazing. And then voila, we have our website. We just did this without writing any piece of code. Imagine how magnificent this is. So that's it, guys. I hope you learned something. Again, if you wish to practice this and practice your sticky skills, learn how about sticky, learn about scroll transform and scroll variants, I'm going to link the remix file in the description for free. You can check it out. If you also want to sign up for Framer, you can sign up for free in the link below. And hope you learned something. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.